Friday, because things were happening that quickly. I know. On Friday, we left off at what? What was happening on Friday? You weren't there. Who remembers what was happening on Friday, Avery? Okay, so they sent out their distress signal, the SOS, and the first and second class passengers were putting their life jackets on. Jada.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
You were
We
gonna
also
say
talked
something.
about why the third grade or third class didn't get to put on life.
Okay, we talked about third class not putting on their life jackets, why they weren't
Third
warned.
graders.
Okay, alright, so we are gonna pick up there, and Nixon noticed that we're still at 12:45. So our last entry was 12:45, our next entry on our timeline
150.
is also going to be 12:45. I already wrote it, 12:45 for number 8, 12:45 AM, so this is where we are. Says insufficient lifeboats. Of course, Thomas Andrews, Bruce Ismay, and the senior officers had known from the start that there weren't nearly enough places on the lifeboats for all the people on board the Titanic. But it's pretty certain that at this stage, hardly anyone else, not even most of the crew, realized this. So they don't have enough lifeboats. Most people have no idea. The evacuation was not very organized. Each lifeboat had designated crew members who were supposed to man it if it had to be launched, but often, men had not checked the lists and did not know which boat was theirs. Charles Lightoller took overall charge of the lifeboats on the left-hand side of the boat, and William Murdoch did of those on the right. Their job was to ensure that the boats were manned, load passengers into them, and see them safely launched, while at the same time keeping order and making sure the panic did not break out. None of this was easy. To start with, few people appreciated the danger they were in. Wasn't the Titanic supposed to be pretty much unsinkable?
Yeah.
Right? So even when the seriousness of the situation began to dawn, for many people it seemed more sensible to stay on board rather than risk passing themselves off into the dark and icy Atlantic in a rickety little lifeboat. So in this section, the author tells us that the crew didn't bother to check the list to see which lifeboat they were in. So why do you think they ignored the responsibility of checking the list? Why do you think, Jaden?
Because they're like, the Titanic's unsinkable.
Right, they thought it was unsinkable. Is that, what were you gonna say, Avery?
And then it's like,
Same thing. Killian?
How much money does it cost to get on the Titanic?
Well, the first class, I'm thinking in today's, who has their chart?
oh, it was 100,000.
Nixon? In today's money, 113,000 for first class in today's
But
money.
how about just,
For second class or third class, I think it was like $66.
Yes.
But what was today's money, Jaden?
So the first class and their money back then was 4,500, then second class.
4,500 for first.
$66.
66, okay, so in their money, first class was 4,500, second class was $66, $36.25.
and they knew that,
Okay, I need you, if you want to participate, please raise your hand, but right now it's Killian's turn.
they knew that because if something really bad happened, they didn't want, if you paid like not that much, you wouldn't get like a life jacket.
Oh, they would still hopefully have a life jacket, but,
First
They
and
didn't,
second.
then,
that they didn't get to put theirs on yet. Nixon,
if they didn't have any lifeboats, so.
yeah, it would. So what, did anyone else have any other responses for why did the crew ignore their responsibility of checking the lists? Okay.
They were sure.
So they really thought it wasn't gonna sink, really, right? Okay, so what can we write for 12:45 AM? We just read what was happening there. What did they just find out? There's not enough what? Not enough, Asher? Not enough lifeboats, okay? Not enough lifeboats.
No, not yet.
Are you good?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna scooch it up just a little. I'm gonna scooch it up. Can you see? Can you see it there?
Yeah.
Okay, Evan,
If they had more light bulbs, this would have never happened.
correct. If they had more light bulbs, at least more people would have been safe, right, Killian?
And if they had their goggles,
If they had goggles. Jaden,
Why did they use spyglasses?
spyglass, what do you mean?
So like instead of binoculars, like in case. they
Oh,
had
to be able to see,
goggles,
they
or
probably didn't have those either. So they didn't have their binoculars, Well, but they didn't have them on the ship. So they could only use what they had on the ship, right? They couldn't just swing by a Walmart in the middle of the Atlantic. Oh, if they had it built into the ship, like at the lookout? Yeah. Binoculars, you would think. A lot of things went wrong. Harper said if he didn't ram into the iceberg, it wouldn't happen. Correct. Does everyone have this written? Not enough lifeboats. Stella?
At the bottom there was like a sharp piece.
Yep.
If they turned the other way, maybe there wasn't the thing.
Maybe it wouldn't have hit.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so our next section, what time is it? It's still 12:45 a.m. So number 9, we're gonna put 12:45 a.m. on our timeline. Okay? So lifeboat launching. Still at about the same time as the SOS was being sent, the first lifeboat was launched. The order for filling the boats was strictly women and children first. For Lightoller, this meant that no male passengers whatsoever should be allowed onto the lifeboats, while Murdoch evidently decided that if there were no women or children nearby, then a few male passengers might be allowed on. Hold for 1 second, okay, Evan? The first half dozen boats to be launched had almost entirely first-class passengers and some crew members in them. None of them was anywhere near full. The worst was number 1, which was launched from Murdoch's side of the ship at about 1:10. It contained just 7 crew members and 4 first-class passengers. Later boats generally had more people in them and a higher proportion of second and third-class passengers. As the Titanic's bow sank ever farther into the water and it became increasingly obvious that there were not enough lifeboats, the scene became more and more desperate. Margaret Brown, who was a passenger, later told how she was willfully pushed forward and dropped into a lifeboat number 6 before she had time to protest. So lifeboat number 1 could hold 40 people, 40, and they only took 11.
What?
11 people total. So why do you think that was? Why would they be able to hold 40, but they only took 11? Bari?
They were probably thinking like all the men could survive.
Okay, so they're thinking maybe more people in their lifeboat would survive. Okay, Maggie?
Like they thought about the better people first.
They thought, I'm sorry?
Like they thought about the first class.
Okay, they were thinking more about the first class people, because they had 7 crew, 4 first class passengers. Jaden?
I have a question.
Yes.
Why was it just the woman and the children?
Because that was like, in that time especially, like, the gentlemanly thing to do would be to put women and children first. So at that time, that was what was more socially acceptable, to have the women and children go first and then save the men.
What happened to your boy? I read in a book that passengers were kept inside the boat.
You read in a book that they were kept inside, and some of the gates were still locked in 3rd class, which is, very unfortunate for them. We talked about SOS a little bit last week, and you guys were so excited to tell me that save our ship or save our souls. So I had never heard that before. I had heard that SOS was like a distress call, like a call for help. So I thought, oh my goodness, I need to look this up. So it does just mean a call for help. It doesn't really stand for anything, and they call that, have you guys ever heard of acronym? Well, they call this a backronym, where we come up with the letters and then people decide like, oh, it must mean this because it makes sense. But have you guys ever heard an SOS call?
No.
Okay, so I found on YouTube, this is,
Why is everything on YouTube?
So that would have been the call that they sent out to other ships, so it's dot, 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 dash, 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 dot, dot, dot.
Oh,
So that was the, like, universal, play it again, you wanna hear it one more time? I'm sorry? I'll try to do it louder. But first, the best thing that we can do is turn our voices off, and that will make it easier to hear. Okay, so that is the SOS, Harper. Oh, okay. Yeah, the dash, it's like short, 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 long, 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 short, short, short. That's the SOS. Ari.
Like you said, dot dot dash. Isn't that Morse code?
Yes, Morse code. Nice job. Killian.
I think what they did is like they I don't know if they did this or not, but I think they did the Morse code like single like right like see there was like a grand beat if like the boat sing
Oh, if something was going wrong, yeah, that was like their call for help.
grand beat.
Yeah, they would do the SOS. Maggie.
That's making me want to sleep.
Make you want to what? Sleep? The SOS makes you want to sleep? Is it like music? Like relaxing to you? Okay. You gotta. Sounds like a, for what, for marching?
Like emergency.
Oh, emergency. Yeah, it is. It's an emergency. They're calling for help. Madison.
Maybe when we talked about like the people that were playing the instrument, maybe they were kind of like SOS.
Oh, because the musicians were still playing like till the very end, right? Hold on one second. Harper. No, they had a, remember we talked about their radio operators? So this was how they sent it through their radios. There was, I don't know exactly how the radios work, but it would transmit that sound to another ship, all the nearby ships could hear it through their radios. Like we have our walkie-talkies, and they would have some sort of radio system that they would push the button, yeah, and they had a whole system for the codes. Yeah, some of them. Okay, I'm gonna take one more, Evan, and then we're gonna move on to our timeline. Okay, all right, hold on, we are gonna move on to our timeline because we also have to ask Rich today, so we wanna make sure we can get through this. So 12:45. What did we do with this 12:45? What happened in this section? Avery? Yeah, the lifeboat, the first lifeboats were launched. Can you see mine? Okay, so first lifeboats were launched. You can give me a thumbs up when you are ready. First lifeboats were launched. Lucas? Oh, thumbs up.
No, I'm
Jamie?
not ready.
Why is there 3 and 12:45?
That is how quickly things are happening. 12:45, this happened. 12:45, this happened. I'm sorry?
In the book, there's only 2, not 3.
The other one was on the page from Friday.
But the 12:05.
Was it 12:05?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, so there's two 12:45s, not three. My fault, my mistake.
Well, what is this one?
What's that?
No, what is this one?
Hold on. Stand by. No, so on Friday, number 7 was 12:45. That was Friday. Now, today, we also started at 12:45 for number 8, and then 12:45 for number 9. What-
Number 7 for me is 12:45.
Yeah, number 7 is 12:45. What do you have for number 7, Jeevan?
Number 7, 12:45.
Yeah.
Number 8, 12:45.
Yep.
Number 9.
And then number 9,
Number 9,
12:45.
8. One more word.
Okay. So you got them all. Just one 12:45 was from Friday, and then the 2 are from today. It's on a different page.
And why is this on?
Okay, super important if you want to add, I need you to raise your hand, okay? Like Madison. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. First lifeboats were launched. Okay? Jaden,
So I put one more 12:45.
you got it?
So I put one more.
Are you on number 9?
9 is unnamed.
9 is 12:45 a.m. and that is when the first lifeboats were launched. Killian.
I heard this question. I heard this question by Evan. He said, I wonder how much lifeboats were launched and how much were it.
Oh, how many? How did they do? They didn't launch all of the boats. Your question was, you wonder how many of the lifeboats were launched?
Yeah.
I think all of them ended up technically getting launched, but they weren't all full, which was caused more of a problem. You got it. How many boats were there? There were more. I just read this last night. I will have to look for you, Gunnar. I think there were more than 20.
You know what that picture is?
20?
Okay, let's look if we can.
Wait,
find
you
this
can only
one.
fit 40.
Does everyone have this written? First lifeboats were launched. Stella?
What if someone
Well, they would wanna hurry up. Okay, let's look at our pictures at the bottom of the page here. Okay, they're showing us, oh, there are 20 lifeboats. Okay, there are 20 lifeboats. Hold on, I'm crooked. 20 lifeboats here. There are 2,207 people on board. And the total capacity of the lifeboats was 1,178 people, which meant all these people, 1,029 people, were left over, that there was no room to put them in the lifeboats, okay? And then they're showing the water level with E-deck, and you can see how the water is filling into the compartments in the bottom.
More people lost their lives because they didn't fill them.
Correct, because they did not fill the lifeboats, even more people died. I'm gonna hold on to questions, okay, guys?
Wasn't there 3,000 people that happened?
Okay. Everyone has number 9 written, first lifeboats were launched. Okay.
Over 3,000 people that died.
Okay, hold on. All right, Nixon.
But didn't it say in the book that there was like 3,000 people that died?
No, that's how many were on board. I think that is what it said, but not died. Killian.
In that situation, I would just, if there was a lifeboat like close and I could make the jump, I would just jump.
I don't care for them.
And there's someone off.
Okay. All right, Bari.
Can you just lay the people down and then the other people could just sit on them?
Well, the boats would have a maximum, not only number of people, but weight.
Can we get
So it would just kind of depend on the weight too. Okay, all right, we are gonna turn voices off so we can keep reading here. Our next time, number 10, is 1:50 a.m. So if you will write 1:50 a.m. for number 10.
Wait, 150?
1:50 a.m. is our next time. Well, we went from 12:45, now we're at 1:50. So let's see. Okay. This one is titled The Bitter End. By about 10 to 2, the forecastle deck at the front of the ship had disappeared underwater. 10 minutes later, the water had reached deck A, or A deck, just below the boat deck. The last lifeboat to be successfully launched from the davits, collapsible lifeboat D, was lowered into the sea at about 2:05, so 2:05. The last lifeboat was lowered to the water. And almost immediately afterward, water started to pour onto the boat deck at the front end, At this point, men were still struggling with collapsible lifeboats A and B, which had been heaved off the roof of the officers' quarters. Amazingly, the lights on the ship were still blazing. Engineers, under Chief Engineer Joseph Bell, worked until the very last minute in the engine room, determined to keep the power going. The Marconi operators continued frantically tapping out messages. So those were with the radios, the wireless radio system that they were using. The last one received by another ship was sent at 2:10, so 2:10, the last message was sent. Hundreds and hundreds of people had gathered on the deck. Some were praying, some were weeping and crying for help. Others just huddled silently together. The ship's band was standing near the base of the second funnel, playing a solemn tune, probably the hymn, Nearer My God to Thee. So we can write for 150, what was happening at 150? Killian?
The boat, the water reached a deck, and some people were huddled up, and some people were praying.
Okay, so water reached a deck. And people, we could just say people huddled on the deck?
Yeah.
Or passengers or people, whichever way you want to say it. I think I would like to add, the band was still playing. So I think it's pretty remarkable that the band, even at the very end. You don't have to add that to yours if you don't want to, but I just think band still played.
No.
I'm sorry? Yeah, water reached, R-E-A-C-H-E-D, sorry. Evan.
What's the same pretty well as the water underwater?
They probably, once they were underwater, they wouldn't be able to play anymore.
You play the drums though.
They might be able to play the
Sound
drums.
like, well,
I don't, yeah, I'm not sure, I think it was stringed instruments,
Isn't the water just extremely frozen?
but very, very
Yes.
cold.
Like, I think if you touch it, it's really cool.
I don't know if that would happen, but it was very, very cold, and certainly if your body was in the water for a long time, what would happen? Hypothermia. Yes. Is that what you're gonna say, Jaden? Okay. Okay. All right, ready, are we, Valeria?
how many people died?
How many people died? We are gonna get into all the sad details. Okay, so moving on to number 11. I'm sorry? You're still writing, Killian? Okay. I'm gonna write 2:15 a.m. as our next time. 2:15, number 11 is 2:15 a.m. Okay, number 11.
It's only 45 minutes.
Okay, at about 2:15, the bridge at the front of the boat deck sank under the water. This put tremendous strain on the cables securing the forward funnel. One by one they snapped, and with a groan the tunnel broke away. Charles Lightoller, who was on the roof of the officers' quarters at the time, recalled that the ship then gave a sudden lurch, creating a wave that washed the two remaining collapsible lifeboats off the deck. So now they've lost two of the lifeboats. They got washed off the deck. Shortly afterward, a loud rumbling sound, like distant thunder, was heard emanating from the deep down in the bowels of the ship. By now, the lights had finally gone out and everything was in darkness. The back end of the boat deck was still far above the water, while the front end had disappeared from view. Some survivors maintained that this point of the ship's stern seemed to settle back down in the water for a while. Others, including Lightoller, disagreed and instead remembered the ship continuing to tip up ever more steeply. Whatever the case, the end now came very fast. By 2:20, so 2:20, the last vestiges of the Titanic had slipped beneath the surface of the Atlantic. Do you guys know what the word vestiges means? Yeah, like the last bits, the last trace of anything had disappeared into under the surface of the Atlantic. So the giant ship took less than 3 hours to sink. Okay, so how do you think anyone survived? If you will turn to your table partners, how do you think anyone survived? What's that? They saw the iceberg. But they were absolutely, yeah, the ship turned, but as it Okay. All right, boys and girls. What group would like to share? If we can turn our voices on? Girls. Yugana, I saw your hand first.
Since they sank down, their bodies found?
No. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. If they,
Yeah, but what about the fish?
Yeah, the fish probably ate them.
if they, this is what I think. If they saw their bodies, when we get later and you find that the ship comes to get the survivors, I think if they saw their bodies, they did pull them in, to the ship that was saving them. But it would have been quick, so they wouldn't be like decaying or anything yet. They would just be dead bodies. But I'm not sure. We'll have to double check that, Yugana. Jaden.
I think they used like the object.
Okay, I need voices off right now. It is Jaden's turn. Jaden's turn. Jaden's turn right now. Jaden's turn. The doors. So, I know, that's the movie. The movie is kind of like historical fiction, so some of the parts may be true and some of them are not, based on a true event. But they probably did. They probably did use any objects that were floating to try to save themselves, right? Nixon.
But there was,
Okay, yeah. Killian?
I think that, I don't think the Titanic movie used like what happened.
Right, they took like the actual event.
No, I think they didn't know that like, is this book real?
This book is true. Yes.
So why didn't they use like the part where it said people were still like on it?
Why didn't the movie use that part?
Yeah, like they were still right here.
Because Hollywood likes to make movies that make lots of drama, right? More drama even. Valeria.
So in the movie there was this girl. Was that true? Like,
Jack and Rose?
yeah.
I
Is that
don't-
a true story?
No.
That's.
Okay, so let's write our,
Is the ghost in there?
for 215, so what happened? 215, the section we just read, Stella?
But I just played it for us. So you know how the ship was broken in half? It like it have three, so if it didn't break it half way, that one piece where the hit was on, it's let it like floated a little bit
Longer.
longer, so they had so they could like think about what to do.
Like a plan. Did you see the movie? Okay, so how many of you guys have seen the movie?
What movie?
Okay, so one really super important thing to remember, the movie is not all true. They took the Titanic and this whole history of the sinking of the Titanic, and they made a movie to it, about it. And sometimes when you make a movie based on history, then they turn into historical fiction. It's not true. They add stories, they add details that didn't necessarily happen. It could have happened, but it doesn't mean that it absolutely happened. Jaden?
Wait, did the ship snap?
The eyewitnesses differ.
If it did, why didn't the other piece just float? Why would it float?
Because it's
If
heavy.
it wasn't filled with water. Okay, let's put our last, for number 11, what just happened? Killian?
That, the final end of the boat sink.
Yeah, the Titanic sank.
It's finally gone.
And we're gonna have to stop right here
Titanic go
because we have to get ready. Titanic sank. We have to get ready for gas break. Do you wanna, you can go ahead and stop the meeting.
Where am I going?